Hey there, welcome back to my garden on this absolutely gorgeous fall day. I admittedly had to pull myself away from what I was doing inside, reading a fantastic book, forcing myself to come out here into the garden to get some things done today. It's Saturday, so basically I have all day to work out here. All my boys are gone making cider. They're doing a cider press, which is super fun. I think that they're really having a good time, but that really just frees me up to do anything that I need to do out here in the garden. But I was finding it hard to be motivated to come out here and work. Everything right now in the garden is still looking really pretty. There's not a lot of work that needs to be done around the gardens other than weeding that always needs to be done. But I'm not at the point yet where there's a lot of things that need to be cut back. Mostly things are changing color. They're looking super beautiful. A lot of my fall blooming plants are still blooming. A lot of my annuals are still blooming here in the middle of October. So everything is it's just looking really pretty. So when I was thinking about it, I was like, maybe I just want to sit on the front porch and look out at the beautiful gardens. But again, we're anticipating some rain. So I was thinking, what do I need to get done today before the rain comes? And one project, and I mentioned in our last video, I believe it was, is widening this garden, or this grass path rather, in the lower garden. It's something that I've been kind of eyeing, thinking about needing to do, but I wanted to wait until the soil got a little bit more saturated so that it was easier to dig in and dig out the grass. So I'll show you that in a second, but before we go down there, I wanted to show you guys a beautiful, gorgeous, I think you can see it right over my shoulder, a gorgeous mum that I picked up the other day that I just placed right over here into the garden. It's actually not even planted. My boys and I went to Harvest Fest at Bauman Farms the other day, and they had these gorgeous mums on sale for $10. And I had pulled out some annuals from this spot while we were working up here the other day, and I just thought this would be a good spot for this. I can see it out my front windows off the front porch, and it's just gorgeous. And what I always look for when I do get a mum, which isn't every year, I don't always purchase them, but is one that has still a lot of buds that are yet to open. These will hold on and continue to bloom like this as long as we're having this nice cool weather that we have. They'll just kind of hold on to their blooms, and then the buds will open up, and eventually it'll just absolutely be covered. But yeah, I don't even know if I'm going to plant it here. I might just leave it in this container and let it look beautiful in this spot until it's done blooming. I don't know. I have mums that have come back in the past, so I could possibly plant it and have good luck with it coming back in the years to come, which would be awesome. But for the time being, it's just going to sit right there. But also wanted to show you guys this. This is a green Japanese maple, just a straight Acer palmatum is what this variety is. I don't know if you can see from this perspective, but the beautiful color that it's taking on. Let's go on the other side. Well, maybe we'll have to come back and look at it once it's in the full sun, but the color on it is really, really pretty, especially because all year long it's just this really, really healthy, beautiful green, and it takes on these burgundy tones in the fall, and it's just a real treat to see in the fall. And even the little stems that hold the leaves on are turning pink and red, and it's such a pretty tree. I'm really excited to see what this one becomes over the years as it gets even more established and more stately and beautiful. So yeah, that one is looking gorgeous. And then of course this red Japanese maple over here is also looking really, really beautiful. So let's just go down here and I'll show you guys the grassy area that I'm going to be working on. So right down here, this is our lower gardens. This area was basically just kind of a wild grass mixture before I started putting in these no-dig beds. Basically 2 years ago, this one right here that I'm pointing at, this was about 2 years ago that I started putting this one in, a little over 2 years. This one I started putting in last summer, and so it's basically a year old. Most of the things I've actually just been planting in this year. So as this garden has been coming into its own and getting more and more full, that's been really fun. But I've also noticed as I've been working down here that this grassy area needs some work. Obviously, it could use some planting. There's some mold damage right there. It's a lot of weeds, it's not beautiful tended grass, but does definitely look a lot better than it did before, especially now that we're mowing it and it's getting thicker with the grass, less weeds than it was before. But something I've noticed is that I'm not totally happy with is the curve of this garden down here and how it matches up with this curve of this path up here. I don't want to take out all the grass and have it be all garden, just because this right here actually is one of our drain lines, which is helpful to make the grass stay green most of the year. But I do want to have this area over here, especially this little curve right here, be a little bit more, I don't know, conducive, I guess, a little bit more of a reflection of this curve on this side. So I was thinking I'm just going to end up taking out some of this grass over here on this side. I'll be able to pull some of the perennials, namely mostly these boxwood right here. This is a path, if you can believe it. It's so grown over with these absolutely beautiful pink cashmere superbena. There's a path that goes right in there and curves through the garden, but they're just kind of taking it over. But there is a boxwood right here. It's a little cone-shaped boxwood, and then one right here also. I'd like to pull those forward, plant them out this direction a little bit, and just widen the bed a little bit, but mostly in the attempt just to make the grass pathway look a little bit more fine-tuned, I guess. So what I'm going to start out with is actually using this power cord, bright orange, so I can definitely see it, to lay it out in the grass along here so that I can mark the line that I'm going to be cutting into with my half moon shovel. And then I will also be using this tool to be digging out the grass. So now you might be asking why I'm actually digging out the grass when so many of my gardens have been created with the no dig method, which basically entails cutting the grass way far down, putting cardboard on top of it, letting the weight of the soil, the compost, and the mulch that you put on top of the cardboard, let that kind of do its magic, ends up killing the grass underneath and really creating an amazing garden bed underneath it. That's been the method for all of these gardens down here in this lower area. In this case, I'm not going to do that because the grass is so much higher than the garden. I want to remove the soil, otherwise the new space of the garden that I'm creating by taking out the grass will be considerably higher than the existing garden bed, and I don't want that. So I'm fine with the grass pathway being a little bit higher than the garden, but if I was to put cardboard on top of the grass and then soil on top of that, it would be several inches higher than the existing garden bed, and I don't want that. So I'm going to do my best just to kind of dig out the sod. I'm going to go put it over by the goats so they can eat down the grass that I remove, so it won't go to waste. It'll be a little bit more work, I'm sure, but I do think that after I take out the grass, I'm probably going to actually lay down some cardboard anyways on top of the soil, and then put some garden soil on top of that, garden compost rather, on top of that, so that that can still cause the cardboard to break down, which brings nutrients to the soil as the worms and stuff come up and eat the cardboard as it composts and all that. So I think it'll still be good. Also, I think that'll help suppress weeds and grass from possibly coming and growing back up through it. So I think I will still do that, but first things first, I'm going to set up the camera and I'm just going to lay out the extension cord so that I can just see what curve I'm working with. I've done this before without the extension cord, or you can also use a hose, but this extension cord is what I could find, and I like that it's bright orange so that I can definitely see it against the grass. So anyway, I've tried to do it without doing a line first, and I'm not good at doing that. I'm not good at doing that. I have to end up redoing the edge so many times. And I think this will definitely help me get on the right track from the beginning and hopefully save myself some extra work that I don't need to do. So let's just get that laid out, see where we're going to be cutting in, and we will go from there. first pass through is done, and as you saw, I did try to use the extension cord, but it was giving me fits. I could not get it just to be straight, and that was, you know, smooth, I guess, as far as the curve went, and that was just really throwing me off. So I thought, well, if I just start small, taking out little bits at a time, then I won't wreck it up too much, and I can just gradually adjust. And I think we're at a really good starting spot. I'm actually pretty happy with how this looks. I know this area right here makes it hard for it to actually look good, but I think this is definitely an improvement as far as the curve goes of the garden. So let's just pan this way. You can see it's definitely a lot less steep, I guess, as far as the curve, a much more gradual curve. What I was noticing though, as I was coming back over here with my cart, is that I'm thinking I could maybe take this a little bit more drastic and bring this out a little bit more. I think that would look pretty good if I just went right along here and then met up with that spot. It would just make this a little bit more drastic on this side. So I think I'm going to go ahead and do that. But what I was also noticing too is how terrible this path liner is. This is just some plastic stuff that I got at our local hardware store, and it is not held up to the lawnmower. It has not stayed in the ground. I don't know. I feel like this whole area down here is always just gradually sloping more, and so this being on a slope has been really difficult to keep this stuff in place, and it's just looking terrible. I just pulled this part out because it had broken off of its little holder, and I don't know, I think I'm just going to pull it out. I think I'm going to do that today and then assess over the winter kind of what I maybe want to do in this area to separate out the grass from the pathway in the future. I generally try to just keep things as inexpensive as I can, obviously using free rocks that I find around. This liner stuff was really pretty cheap, but sometimes when you go cheap, obviously it looks cheap and it doesn't hold up. So I'm thinking that just a better option would be to take it out, let it be kind of natural for right now. I think the path is established enough that the grass isn't going to encroach too much on it. I might just have to edge it, but I think that'll look better than having the plastic edging there. So I do think I'm going to take out a little bit more of the grass, and then I'm going to take out this edging, and then I'm also going to plant in a lemon cypress. I have this one in a pot. This actually came from one of my window box projects that I believe I planted this in last year. It grew a lot in the window box, so I took it out, had it in a container. The container blew over and broke, so I potted it up into this little bit larger terracotta container, and it looks sweet. It's been putting on some growth. It's doing well, but I know myself well enough to know that if I keep it in a container this small, it will inevitably perish. So I was thinking of planting this guy in right here. We just took out a dead camellia. It died over the summer, was not doing, oh wow, did you see that big bumble? Anyway, took that out. It was not able to thrive here in this spot. And so I thought that it would be nice to put the lemon cypress here because I have one right here across the way. So there's two right there. I have one, if you can see, right up there. And I also, as I pan this way, I have one, you can see it peeking up over there in the other lower garden that's just right across the way from this one. This one actually started just a little bit larger than this one, if you can believe that. For some amazing reason, these do actually really well here. This is just one of the, I don't know, I'll put it up on the screen, but just one of the typical gold cypress that you can pretty much find anywhere. And I think that just having it just kind of reflect what's going on the other side of the pathway would be really good. So first off, I'm going to just go ahead and get a little bit more of this grass out to make this curve just a slight bit steeper. I honestly thought I was going to take all the way out to like right here, but I don't think that's necessary. I'm just going to make this a little bit more drastic here. And then I'm going to go take out that pathway edging over there, and then we will get the lemon cypress planted in. planting. My husband helped take out the little edging for the pathway over there. So we are all finished. And while I do think it's an improvement, I wish I could say that I'm 100% happy with the edging that I did up here on the bed. I had it so well, and then I just decided to take a little bit more off, and I think I took out too much of one of the curves. So let me just show you how it looks now, and I don't know, it'll grow back, but I wish I could be more happy with how it ended up, but at least I'm done. All right, so I think this curve right here looks really nice. It goes nicely around this nepeta that's right here. I think it'll give it a nice berth for this to grow out a little bit further without going onto the lawn. But as you can see over there on that side, it got a little straight. I was feeling like it was good, and then I took a little bit more off, and then it looked a little bit too steep right here again, and so I wanted to take some of this off, and I just kind of perpetuated the problem that I was trying to rectify in the beginning, in that there's too much of a curve right there, and then it narrows down too much on the end. Oh, I don't know. It's such a bummer. It's so hard, but I don't know. It is what it is, and it'll be nice for next year that things can have a little bit more space to grow out towards the grass. And I will probably end up moving those boxwoods out. Like I said, I just didn't do it today. But as you saw, I did put down the cardboard underneath there, so I think that'll help hopefully to suppress some of the weeds, because the weeds are definitely an issue down here. But anyway, here's the little lemon cypress. It's quaint right now, but these, like I said, they do grow really well here. And this one right here to my right was about this same size when I planted it in. So, and that was just a year ago. It was probably a little bit bigger, but still put on a lot of growth in a year. So I think this guy will be a really nice stately piece right here, just kind of bouncing off that one and then bouncing over to the one down there. I like doing that. There's a trio right here. I like doing that as it kind of just carries your eye down and creates, you know, cohesion down here in these gardens. So I think that was a good place for that. And it's always nice to borrow something from in the garden or that you have in a container and plant it into the landscape and know that it's basically a free plant, because I already paid for it quite a while ago, as just a little bitty start for my window box. And I think that's a good permanent home for that guy in the garden. So as we come this way, we'll just walk along. You did see too, I did put in this step right here, which is just, you know, the trio that were right here, stepping stones to go across the grass. And I extended the path out towards this stone. It's really totally covered up, like I said, by this pink cashmere, but that is okay. So, and here's just a peek this way at the lemon cypress. I think that looks really nice, just peeking up right there. I was wondering if it was going to contrast enough with the yellow of the sunshine ligustrum, but it totally does. It really brings out the green in the cypress, and that color just works really well right there next to the butterfly bush and the kind of the bluish green of the nepeta. I think that is going to look just really, really nice popping up right there without creating too much shade. You know, I was thinking about putting in something like this crabapple that's right here, right, you know, in this spot, but I didn't really want this area to lose its light. It would become shaded after a while, and I thought it would be better just to have a little punctuation mark in that spot. So that lemon cypress is a really good option for right there. Now here's a look at it from this direction. It's not as bad from this side. I feel like perhaps I should move those steps back so it gives a little bit more definition with the grass in between the stone and the path. I'm not sure. We'll see. Maybe they should all just kind of scoot back a little bit. But yeah, the curve isn't as terrible on this side, even though it does look kind of straight. It's still, it looks okay with this. I also, right over there by teak and picket, I did also bring those stones out a little bit because they'd previously been angling a little bit too far back that way, and it wasn't really working with the propulsion of the bark dust right here for the pathway. So I brought those forward, and I think that that helps define the edge a little bit better. Perhaps I'll just work on finding more rocks and continue on along here and edge the front of that path. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what we decide to do. Okay, so this area a little bit too straight, but it'll grow, like I said. And then my husband took out the edging that was right here, kept in this side over here on the left just because it was quite buried down. But I think it looks better already just having it out of this side on the right. And then he also took out this chunk right up here. And it was good confirmation for me that that should come out, because while I was working on this, my mother-in-law stopped by and she tripped on it and almost fell. And so I was like, yes, that does definitely need to come out. It is a tripping hazard. Not only is it ugly, but it's dangerous. So glad to have that part out. Again, don't know what I'm going to do with this area for edging, for keeping the bark dust nicely in this path out of the grass. I don't know, but that's a project definitely for another day. So I'm glad to have all of this wrapped up. It feels good to have been so productive out here today, getting in lots of the fresh air, but I am definitely ready to retire now for the day. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you for hanging out with me while I did this work, and we will see you in the next video. Bye.